Hello everybody, we've got a Group D matchup here for you. It's going to be MECHNIGE1 taking on Invoker of Legend. Invoker's come in looking pretty good so far. I think he's 2-0. MECHNIGE1 has had a pretty tragic showing here in Group D, picking up wins against a lot of these good players. But almost all of them, despite very close matches, have ended in a 1-3 or a 2-3 for MECHNIGE1 as a loss. Comes in 0-5 or 0-6 right now. I think he's actually 0-6. You see a very rough aura start here for Invoker, having to overwrite several things. That orb start in hand could be good, as we see two purples in Nigel's hand, but it's also a bit frustrating, I'm sure, while trying to get a start going. Invoker continues to have to overwrite. I think I'm going to turn down our sound a little bit here. See, neither one really engaged in a lot of action yet. Invoker also very insistent on keeping that Return to Nature that started in his hand. Starting with Orb and Return to Nature, just not a good day. And that Vacuum Slash narrowly misses. Invoker counters with Ice Sword, gets a little damage down. Doesn't want to be anywhere near that Lightning Sword right now, though. I think at this point he needs to overwrite the Return to Nature. Saw the Return to Nature, or I think that was a Return to Nature out of Nigel, which hit his orb. I think it's definitely time to overwrite that and open up some of your hand. And he chooses to overwrite the Vacuum Wall. You gotta be willing to overwrite a few more things here, I think, in order to keep this arsenal moving. Not going to connect with the Ice Sword. And he has no defense against that, because he overwrote the Vacuum Wall to keep the Return to Nature. So Nigel could stay on him with that Ice Sword and Lightning Sword, but decides to retreat back to his base. Now has nothing to deal with Blaster either. Finally, we needed to see that. But that Guard of Water is one shield too late now, as I think we've seen him give up Glacial Wall, Vacuum Wall, and lost the Gust. I don't know if we saw him override a Fortress, I don't recall. But this is the fourth shield in his arsenal, and it's only going to block one attack. Getting some good shatter pressure in. It's not really a win condition, though. Nigel's got 3 attacks in hand. Even if he gets to shatter everything he wants, he can't break Nigel's shield, and he can only block 1 attack. Does hit. Oh, he has the heat on, so I guess he can break that laser barrier, so not as bad as I thought. That hit also gives him a health advantage. Very good right now. That's a very good rock shot. 2 in a row. Nigel does lose the shield finally. Oh, that was a very good one. Nigel doing that double back there, and he caught him at just the right time that the rock shot was able to intercept. I've said it before, This reliance on rock shot that we've seen out of Invoker, a man after my own heart. I'm loving it. All things considered, in this current situation, Nigel should have the advantage, but he's not able to press it. And Invoker is getting a lot of damage down with that rock shot. He unfortunately loses the shield now, though. Gets a free capsule there, but he is inside that melee range for the moment. Nigel tries to manual aim the first one. It's not effective. He does get an ice sword off, but he's not really able to follow up with a whole lot of damage. Very close on landing that rock shot. The ceiling just barely caught that. Nigel almost jumped up into that rock shot. Misses the lightning sword. Gonna swing with an ice sword here in a moment. Does catch him. And the blaster is really coming down to the wire. Invoker had to overwrite so much early because of the aura screw and not being willing to get rid of the return of nature. That orb starting in his hand, certainly not the best situation. He's got 2 more attacks in base. So I guess he's not all out of offense, but he has to have room to get back there. Alright, at least he breaks the vacuum wall with that rock shot. The heat on will break it. Now he's got melee. He hasn't really had any of that all game, so Nigel, well, he did have the one ice sword, but Nigel may not be expecting that. One Psycho Blade or one lightning sword both finish. Nigel has to hit Invoker at least twice. If he uses ice sword, he has to hit him 3 times. Oh, he gets one. He walks the first Psycho Blade. There we go. Invoker, switching up the sword style there, is able to land the lightning sword. And that'll be game 1 to Invoker. And a slugfest that did not start out pretty for him. And if I remember correctly, there is an issue here where they were unable to see each other anymore. Yeah, and so they had to remake. And there is actually a second video we're going to switch over to that should have that footage for us. So here we go, on to City, game 2. Lasers coming out. They had that bug where they couldn't see each other mid-match. Been getting a lot of those lately. Nigel blocking with the iron skin. Moving in like he wants to pop capsules though. Except for I don't believe I see a purple in his hand. Let me turn this down once again. Trying to manual aim some signs at Nigel. There we go. Very good hit. Intelligent play from Invoker. If he gets one of these tiger strengths down here, he'll be in a better spot. Needs to start throwing the twist. There it goes. Changing up the angle. Try triple laser this time. Well, he overwrites the triple. He's moving in to try the blaster now. See the Psycho Knife out of Nigel. He's at that +2 acquisition as well. Trades. 4 for 4. Nigel is 1 hit away from a 2-0 lead for Invoker. And he's keeping that pressure on. He has narrowly missed 2 knockoffs. Could have maybe lined up a blaster for the fall there. No, just throw the blaster right now. Well, I guess he can just block it with the Psycho Shell. That's a shame. There you go. Twist the triple laser is what I thought you should have gone with earlier before you overrode it. Broke A shield. Getting some damage in. And that'll be the finish right there. Nigel not timing that last block correctly. He had the aura for it, but that's going to be a 2-0 lead for Invoker as we head to Refinery for Game 3. See a heat onto Nigel, acquisition onto Invoker, looking to use a heat of his own once he gets the aura to do so. Nigel's already decided to come across the map. Oh, Doze. Traded for the 5 damage. It's not as bad as it could be for Invoker. He's just at normal damage with -1 aura regen, which isn't terrible. If he finds his Purify, he could reverse that. Or he could just leave it as is at +4 acquisition for now. That rock shot will be dangerous at +4. Really want to try and catch some of these lasers. Mistimes the vacuum wall. Gonna try and move in and put down some offense. Maybe catch some of these lasers. There goes one rock shot, but it's blocked. You gotta jump to get it over that lip. Catch him while he's in the air or wait for him to land. Get him. Too late. Lasers from the air like that, especially double lasers, not gonna hit very well. Move in, try and catch him in the air with the rock shot or catch him as he falls. And he eats the second Doze. Gonna lose the Ice Sword. Gonna have a hard time now at a full -1. Nigel's still unable to get that laser to get the angle he wants. Now that he finally does, he gets vacuum walled. Picking up the orb would be a big mistake. Play it slow, I would say. Wait for Nigel to have to break your vacuum wall and then dig for the Return to Nature or Purify. For now, I would overwrite. I'd force him to take your Vacuum Wall, and those are really two staple attacks that I don't think you can afford to overwrite right now. He does manage to get it, although Double Laser pulls some hacks and gets a little bit of damage in anyway. Yeah, see if you can test out some of these shields. Vacuum Wall of Nigel's. It's not looking good for Invoker right now. Nigel definitely has the advantage right now, especially since both dozes hit. He's able to take just about any attack that Invoker throws at him. A good sword cancel, but Invoker is unfazed. This gives Invoker some room to go and pick up at least some of that aura and start digging. Vacuum Wall does not catch the laser. Looks like he would rather try and catch the sword. He does manage to get it. Wants to catch the vibration laser next, which still at +1 doesn't break Vacuum Wall. Nigel fakes it nicely. Doesn't get any damage in, but he is able to get around the shields. Shows that he knows what he has to do in order to win the game. Neither of these characters with Faith is going to be able to pop out the other if they get low enough on capsules. Only possibility is if Invoker has a Shatter and Nigel leaves something that isn't aura on the field. Does finally catch that vibration laser. Nigel got to be a little frustrated about that. Gets another Flame Sword. The Fortress and Vacuum Wall of both players just eating up their attacks. Invoker at this point not really willing to go back either, just staying here. Taunting Nigel into attacking, catching the attacks. Which is good, but also he doesn't really have a whole lot of damage output he can put down. Almost got a little chip damage with that Flame Sword in. Another attack for Nigel. He's gonna actually eat that blaster. Doesn't jump appropriately. Now knows that Vacuum Wall will break to one of the blasters. Nigel very clear about which one he prefers to lose. That'll put him back in normal damage. Negative aura regen, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Definitely prefer being at proper damage. So he's going to lose that Vacuum Wall now. Vibration Blaster remains for Nigel. That won't break through the fortress though. Glacial Wall could be a big turning point here. Could have hit a Flame Sword, but he does connect with that Rock Shot. Just got to be careful there. He still has that Vacuum Wall. Could easily take this Rock Shot if Invoker is not careful. Oh, it's Gust. He dropped the vacuum wall. Invoker actually going to benefit greatly from that. It's going to get some damage down with the Flame Sword now. Ice Sword, if he can catch up to him, will put the pressure back on. Oh, Nigel. Not respecting the sword. And after all the advantages he had, is going to go down here. I think that's 3 rock shots in Invoker's deck that I just counted. That makes me happier than I can describe. 3 rock shots for Invoker, 4 acquisition, and 0 health for MECHNIGE1 in a 3-0 victory for Invoker of Legend.